everyone, today I'm here to share with you all of the books I read in July. So July was a pretty good reading month for me. Oh crap, I think I read 10 books, 9 or 10. One of those, it was a really good reading month for me as far as quantity goes, but quality has not been that amazing for me these past 2 months. I think I have one 5-star in here and then I have one 4-star and the rest are like 3. So a lot of average books this month, but that happens. I've known that's happened a lot for me, especially in the summer months. I tend to read a lot, but the books I read are not like wowing me. So I don't know if that's just because of the summer and there's not a lot of new releases I'm really excited for, like the fall. Oh my gosh, so many new releases that I think I'm going to fall in love with that I think will be my favorites of the year. So here's to hoping on that regard. As always, I'm going to start with my least favorite book, working up to my favorite. So like I said, I have a bunch of 3 stars, and the first 3 stars I want to share with you are graphic novels that I read, because I read 3 graphic novels this month for the reading rush because I'm a cheater, and that's all I really had time to read for that. I have a whole vlog if you want to see that. I also am doing a Mashup review on these 3 graphic novels, so I will not go into detail here a ton because I'm filming that, and I will go into detail more, so just know this is like my loosely based review for them. So like I said, these are all 3 stars. They're not in any particular order. So first off, I'm going to start with Check Please by, I cannot pronounce this author's name. This is a webcomic she wrote a while ago and it's made into a book, and I know this is a series. I don't know if there's other books out in this series, but basically in this book we follow a character named Biddy who goes to university and he is on the ice hockey team. He's also a YouTuber vlogger and he vlogs his life, and he also loves baking pies. Like goodness me, he loves baking pies. And he's also trying to figure out how to come out to his teammates. So like I said, I give this book a 3 out of 5. It was adorable. It was cute. The art is really adorable as well. I'll go into more detail about those in the Master reviews, but overall it was okay. There wasn't a ton that happened in this book. With graphic novels, I feel like you have to get to the point very quickly because they're usually very short and you read them very quickly because of that. So you need to make an impact fast, and this one I don't think really made an impact. It was fun, I'm not gonna lie. It was a cute book, but I'm probably not gonna remember a good majority of it because it wasn't really interesting to like the last quarter and then it ended. So I was like, okay, that's kind of disappointing. So it got a 3 from me. I might continue on with the series. I might not. I'm undecided because if you don't know, I don't read a ton of graphic novels. I maybe read like 5 a year, if that. So if you are looking for a very expert opinion on them, I'm not your girl because I feel like I can't give you a really valid and like, you know, true opinion because I don't read them a ton as much as I do with other genres. So just throwing that there as well. The next one I want to talk about is Bloom by Kevin Panetta and Savannah. I'm so sorry, I can't pronounce this. Again, this is a 3 star as well. This one has a lot of blue tones to it. This one we follow a character named Ari, who is in high school, and he is actually graduating high school, and he works with his family along with their bakery, and they're kind of struggling, and basically Ari wants to move away after high school. He wants to move out with this band and he wants to make it big and move off to another city, but his parents want him to stay and work at the bakery. So Ari decides this for the summer, before he moves away, he's going to find another worker that can fulfill his role to help his family out. So it's Hector, who's actually very passionate about baking and is taking a year off because his grandmother's passed away. He's helping out with her house and stuff, and he wants to go, and he's going to school for baking, and he decides to start working there. They form a friendship, eventually something more, and I will have to say this is probably my favorite out of all 3 graphic novels because the baking aspect. I am a sucker for any sort of food, baking related things in any books. I'm just a junkie for it. Call it what you want, I don't know, but I did enjoy this one. Again, it kind of meandered a little bit, as I find most graphic novels do, which again perplexes me because you have such a short amount to reel somebody in, so I'm like, you gotta get to it, but it was cute. I mean, if you're looking for a good summary, like baking book, this is a great one to read. I love the baking montages they had in it. It was, you know, cute, but like, it didn't wow me. Again, I'm not an expert graphic novel here. And the last one I want to talk about is Kids Gloves by Lucy Kinsley. I have read 2 of her other graphic novels before. Lucy Kinsley writes about her own life. Her one book, one of my favorite graphic novels actually, there's only been a couple, is called Relish, and that is by her, and it's about her life in the kitchen because both of her parents are chefs, so she's really grown up around a lot of food, and I've done a review on it. I'll link it up here and down below if you want to hear my thoughts on it, but I really loved it. Again, probably the food aspect, but I love learning more about her. She also wrote another graphic novel called Something New. It's about her getting married. I didn't love that one, surprise, surprise, because I'm a wedding junkie, I'm a wedding photographer. She was just just kind of not the best bride in my opinion. So I was a little bit apprehensive to read Kid Gloves, and this is about her, obviously her first pregnancy and her first child. And I have to say, I really enjoyed it. I did give it a 3 out of 5, but I still liked it. I also liked that she talked about infertility, she talked about miscarriages. She had a very, very scary birth, like, oh my goodness. But I enjoyed the information she gave and her journey with it. I thought it was amazing. So in case you are interested in that, like the whole, you know, pregnancy, road to pregnancy or road to being a mom, things like that, I would check this one out. All of them got a 3 from me. I'm just not the best with graphic novels. Maybe that's why I'm so hard on them. I don't know. Next up, a couple of 3 stars I also gave are thrillers. The first one being The Chalk Man by C.J. Tudor. I don't have this one, it's at the library. So I read it because a ton of people have recommended it to me. I'm also kind of a thriller novice as well. I've read like maybe 10 to 15 of them, maybe 20 in overall, I don't know. But overall, I gave it a 3 out of 5. I liked it. I didn't love it. I really thought I wanted a lot more from it. Basically, from what I can remember, because I've already kind of forgotten, because I guess it just hasn't stuck with me, it's about these kids back in the 80s, I think. Oh, goodness me. Which is very like Stephen King-esque. Somebody pointed out to me in the comments one time, and I was like, that's very true. These kids like draw these chalk figurines around each other's houses to like symbolize like, hey, meet me at the park, and there's colors and everything. And basically what happens one day is they draw these things. It leads them to a dismembered body in the woods. Now, years later, they've all kind of moved on from this. They're all adults, and they each get a chalk drawing in the mail. So it kind of has like another murder going on. So the appeal sounds amazing. That sounds very amazing. Interesting. It had me hooked. The plot did, but I didn't love it. It just kind of meandered a little bit. It also had so many unanswered questions. And with thrillers, I feel like you have to like know, unless it's going to be one big like open-ended thing. I might be kind of into it, but overall this one left too many gaps and too many unanswered questions that I just didn't love it. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. I know it's probably surprising to a lot of you guys because I know a lot of you guys love it. I guess I'm also very strict on thrillers. I'm like a strict book grader now. I don't know why, because I'm not professional at all. I'm just lame-o. I don't know. Either way, the other 3-star for thriller I gave was Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I've read his 2 other books, which I really enjoy. Final Girls is my favorite by him. I will say that. A lot of people like The Last Time You Lied. I liked it. This one is probably my least favorite by him. The plot is basically about this woman who gets a job to be an apartment sitter. She just has to sit in this really like illustrious apartment building where a lot of stars and rich people live, and there's a lot of strict rules to this because she's gonna make a lot of money, but there's a lot of strict rules, like she can't have anyone over, not her like best friend or boyfriend. Anybody can never sit inside this apartment. You have to be at the apartment every single night. You can't spend a night away from the apartment. And there's a whole laundry list of these really particular rules, which I think is a huge red flag, but that's just me. Basically, she starts noticing that other apartment sitters have been going missing, so she decides to delve in deeper to this like hotel apartment's history and figuring out their past and how kind of a shady, interesting past it has. Overall, I liked it. I didn't love it. The first quarter I loved, then the middle was like okay, and the last quarter, the ending, I will say this, it had me shocked. Didn't expect it at all, but it's gonna be an ending that you're either gonna really love or you're gonna really dislike. I disliked it because it reminded me so much more of another thing. I don't want to say because I don't want to spoil it. If you want to see what I'm talking about, go watch the review. But yeah, I didn't love it. The ending I just thought was just completely from left field, which is a good thing when it comes to thrillers, but I just didn't like it. Like it just, I don't know. So 3 out of 5, sad to say. But I will continue to read Riley Sager's books because I love his writing. And to my last 3 stars are some YA contemporaries. The first one being The Atomical Shape of a Heart by Jen Bennett. This is one of her first ever YA contemporary books, which I really enjoy. I love all of her books. I don't know where this one falls out in the spectrum for me. I really have to think about it. But basically we follow a character named Bex who likes to draw like anatomy. Like she likes to draw cadavers, and she is trying to go to school for it. So she tries to get into this hospital's program to draw like dead bodies. And there, through the course of that, she meets a guy named Jack who is a graffiti artist by night, and the police are trying to find him, and so they form a relationship. And that's pretty much the general plot. This one, I will say, out of all her books, kind of has the weakest plot in my opinion, because there's not much to go on with it. Like, she does what she does, he does what he does, and it's kind of just that. Overall, was it adorable? Yes. Did I enjoy it? Yes. I thought Bex and Jack were the freaking cutest thing ever. I liked it. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. It's not one of my favorites by her, I will say that. The last 3 out of 5 is Maybe This Time by Casey West. You guys know I love Casey West books. This one is also in the middle for me. I don't really dislike it, but I don't love it. It's not one of my favorites by her. In this book, we follow a character named Sophie who works at a florist for this very small town, and she wants to, after high school, go into bigger and better things in New York and go to fashion design school and things like that. And throughout the course of her last year at the florist, she meets this guy, forget his name, and he is the son of a chef, and they kind of have a hate to love relationship, and it's basically about that. I will say what I did like about this book, it's broken up into events. So every event, it would be Valentine's Day, retirement home dinner, and she would put a flower and put why that flower was selected for that event, which I did enjoy. So I will say, if you're a fan of events like weddings and florists and all those kind of things, this is a cute book for that. I did enjoy that aspect, but it didn't wow me. I mean, Casey West books, either I think they're really good, they're just kind of okay. This one was just okay for me. It's kind of in the middle as far as her other books go, but is it a cute summary read? Definitely. I have 2 4-star books. The first one being If I'm Being Honest by Emily. Oh my gosh, Emily Wibberley. That's such a hard name to say because of I think all the Y's, or I don't know. And Osman Sigua. This one is a retelling of Taming of the Shrew. Their first one, Always Never Yours, was a retelling of Romeo and Juliet. I didn't love their first one, but I really did enjoy this one. This one is about a girl named Cameron who is very blunt, very mean, will tell it like it is, but not in a nice way. I feel like you can be blunt, but be nice about it and be cordial about it. Cameron isn't like that. Just cut straight to the core of you. So basically, Cameron is very interested in this guy, and she decides to pursue it, and then an event happens where she shows her true colors and shows how mean she is, and he's like, I like you, but I don't want to be with you because you're not a nice person. And so she decides, since her class is studying Taming of the Shrew, why not pull a makeover and just change herself to appease this guy, which but she does that, and then on the journey of doing that, she learns that she actually wants to change for herself and not for a guy. So this was really good. It takes a while to get to like Cameron because she's a very hard character to like at first, understandably so, but I really liked reading about her growth and her development over the book. And a lot of people compare this to 10 Things I Hate About You, which is also another Taming of the Shrew retelling. Both very different in my opinion. If you want my honest opinion, 10 Things I Hate About You is my favorite movie of all time. I mention that time and time again, so does it live up to that? No. But I still enjoyed it. I think it's a great retelling, and it's a great summer read at that, and I really enjoyed it. 4 stars. The last 4 stars is Hungry Hearts. This book took me for a surprise. This is an anthology which I'm usually not into. There are some that I really enjoy, I find, that are seasonal, like I love Slasher Girl Monster Boys, The Summer Days and Summer Nights, My True Love Gave to Me. Those type of anthologies I love, but other ones I don't love. This one is 13 Tales of Love and Food. And so what's great about this one is that all these stories are interconnecting. Basically, we have this town or part of a town called Hungry Hearts Row. And there are a whole bunch of like restaurants and things like that. And each one of these is a story that takes place in them. So you're all in the same place. You see some of the same characters a bunch of times. And basically every story is, a lot of them are usually in the character's family's restaurant or they're visiting there, and it all has to do with food, but they're not all just about food. There's one that's like a superhero story. There's one that's like magic is being cooked in the food. They're all very unique and different, and I really enjoyed it. Like, I'm surprised how much I liked it. There were a couple of these stories that I was like, I really want there to be a full-length novel of this, so I liked it. In case you are kind of weary about anthologies, I understand you, but I really love this one because of the interconnecting fact and the food stories. We've said time and time again here, I like reading books about food. It is what it is. And my favorite book of the month is My Lovely Wife by Samantha Dowling. I gave this book a 5 stars. It's my first ever thriller I've given a 5 out of 5 to. I never thought the day would get here, but here it is, my friends. Bask in all its glory. I don't know why I said that, but here it is. Either way, this book has been getting hyped a ton on BookTube. Everyone's been talking about it. Everyone's like, thrillers, My Lovely Wife, My Lovely Wife, My Lovely Wife. I finally have read it. So this basically, all I'm going to tell you about, it's about a suburban couple that has been married for a long time. Their kids are teenagers. They're kind of having like, you know, a little bit of a lull in their marriage. They decided to spice it up by murdering someone, and things get a little bit dicey after that. Like, interesting, if you know what I mean. So that's all I'm going to tell you about it. It's very interesting. I think you can guess a lot of the plot, but I think the writing was so good and I was so invested in it. Like, it was a creepy book throughout. I'd say it's more of along the lines of a domestic thriller, I think, but I'm not a thriller like expert at all, so take my word with a grain of salt. But either way, I loved it, but highly recommend it. In case you're looking for a really good mystery thriller for the summer, look no further. Or fall. This would be a great fall read. So there you have it. Those are all the books that I read in July. Overall, like I said, I read a lot of books, but some of them were just okay. That happens. I hope that in August I have a booming reading month where I really love every single thing I've read. Fingers crossed once again that happens. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.